Hey everyone, my name is Julie, and in today's video we're going to talk about 10 super common, useful, and easy phrasal verbs that you can implement in your conversations with your colleagues at work. Now, phrasal verbs are a really big part of everyday natural English conversation. So if you use them, I promise you, you will sound more natural, more fluent, and more like a native speaker. So let's get started. Okay, so phrasal verb number 1 is to copy in. To copy someone in on an email. And this simply means to send the email to a second person. So for example, the boss asked me to copy him in on all of the emails about this project. So he asked me to send all of the emails to him. One more example. I wasn't copied in on the latest report, so could you please update me? So again, if you copy someone in on an email, it just means that you send that same email to a second person or an additional person. So phrasal verb number 2 is push back. Now, to push something back means to delay that thing to a later date or to a later time. It's very easy to use in conversation when you need to delay something. So for example, would it be possible to push our meeting back a few hours? Or we had to push the product launch back a few months, unfortunately. So again, to push something back just means to delay that thing to a later time or to a later date. Phrasal verb number 3 is take on. Take on. Now, take on means to accept extra work or extra responsibility. So for example, it's just her first week. I don't think she's ready to take on such a big project just yet. Or she's done an amazing job. I think she is ready to take on more responsibility. So again, to take on means to accept additional work, additional tasks, or additional responsibilities. Number 4 is fill in. To fill in for someone. Now, if you fill in for a colleague at work, it means that you do their job for them while they are away. So for example, I am filling in for Sarah this week because she is on holiday. Or, would you mind filling in for me next week when I am on holiday? Would it be possible for you to fill in? So this one is really easy to use in conversations if you need to ask someone to fill in for you on when you're on holiday, or if you have to take a sick leave or a few days off. So again, if you fill in for someone, it just means that you cover their work or you do their work for them when they are off of work or away for some reason. So number 5 is the phrasal verb work something out. Work out. Now, there are a couple different meanings for this phrasal verb, and you may have heard work out meaning to exercise, which is true. However, in the context of work, if you work something out, it just means that you solve a problem or you find a solution to something. So for example, you could simply say, let's try to work this out as soon as possible, or let's try to work this out today. This means let's try to solve this problem or this issue today. You could also say, for example, even though the client has a different vision than us or different ideas than us, I'm sure that we can find a way to work this out. So again, to solve this issue or to solve this problem. Number 6 is to break something down. Now, you may have heard the phrasal verb break down in terms of a mental breakdown or your car breaking down. But again, today we're talking about the context of work. So if you break something down, it means that you separate it into smaller parts so that it's easier to explain or easier to understand. So for example, could you please break down this quotation for me? So in this case, you've received a quotation for the cost of something, but you don't have a detailed explanation. So you are asking someone to please explain the details involved in the total price of this quotation. So again, if you ask someone to break something down for you, you're asking them to separate it into simpler parts or smaller parts that are easier to understand. Number 7 is to run something by someone or to run something past someone. So run by and run past have the exact same meaning. It's just two ways of saying the same thing. Now, if you run something by someone, it means that you just share some information with them in order to get their opinion or their thoughts or their ideas on whatever that thing is. So for example, would you mind if I run next week's schedule by you or run the schedule past you before we share it with everyone else? Another example, when you have a few minutes, can I run some ideas by you? So this just means, can I share some ideas with you so that you can give me your opinion on my ideas? Number 8 is pick up. Now, the phrasal verb pick up is very common. You may have heard it in the context of, for instance, picking someone up from the airport or picking your kids up at school. But if we're talking about business, the phrasal verb pick up has a very different meaning. So if something picks up, it means that it improves after it has been bad for a really long time. So for example, this year, 2020, has been really, really tough on many businesses because of COVID-19. So sales have been very low or have been very bad in many cases. So we could say that hopefully sales pick up next year. Hopefully sales improve or increase next year. Number 9 is to go over or to go through. Now, these two phrasal verbs have pretty much the same meaning. So good news, they can be used interchangeably. And go over or go through simply means to review something. So for example, when you have a minute, can we go over next week's schedule? Or when you have some time, can we go through some of the points that we discussed in yesterday's meeting? So again, to go over or to go through is another way of saying to review something. And last but not least, number 10 is to fall through. Now, if something falls through, it means that it does not go as planned or it does not happen as planned. So for example, plans to open the new office fell through, or the sale fell through at the last minute. So again, if something falls through, it just doesn't go as originally planned. So there you guys have it, 10 very, very easy, useful, and common phrasal verbs to put into practice when you are having conversations with your colleagues at work. So try using these as soon as you can. Leave us some examples down below. Thank you so very much for watching and for spending time with me, and I'll see you soon in the next one.